The great hall fell silent as Ambassador Lucy Martinez walked toward the center platform. Her shoes clicked on the crystal floor of the Galactic Council chamber. 2 billion beings watched her through holoscreens across the galaxy. Behind her, Commander Jake Thompson and the rest of Earth's delegation stood in a straight line. Their faces showed no fear. Ambassador Martinez, Speaker Zeth Kora's voice boomed from above. The alien's tentacles swayed as it spoke. You know why we called this session? Lucy nodded. Yes, Speaker, but I still don't understand why. You humans found quantum flux, Zeth Kora said. This energy is too dangerous, too powerful. The alien's eyes glowed red. No single race should have such power. But we're willing to share it, Lucy argued. We've always shared our discoveries with the Council. That is not enough. Another council member interrupted. This one looked like a giant rock with arms. You grow too fast. Your technology advances too quickly. You make others nervous. Jake stepped forward. Are you saying we're a threat just because we're good at science? The chamber filled with clicking sounds, alien laughter. Zeth Kora's tentacles waved for silence. You don't understand your place, Commander Thompson. Humans have only been in space for 600 years. Other races here have traveled the stars for thousands of years. And in those 6 centuries, Lucy said, we've made more progress than any race in history. We've solved problems that stumped the greatest minds in the galaxy. Enough. Zeth Kora's voice shook the crystal floors. The Council has voted. 30-3. Humanity is banished from Council space. You have 30 days to gather your colonies, your ships, your people. After that, any human found in Council territory will be destroyed. The room exploded in noise. Human delegates shouted protests. Some alien delegates cheered. Others looked uncomfortable with the decision. Jake grabbed Lucy's arm as angry voices grew louder. This is wrong, Lucy shouted above the chaos. We've been allies for 3 centuries. We've fought together against the Dark Swarm. We've shared knowledge, food, even DNA to help create better medicines. This is how you repay our friendship? Zeth Kora's voice cut through the noise again. Humans are too unpredictable. Your species thinks differently. You solve problems in ways that frighten us. Today it's quantum flux. Tomorrow it might be weapons we cannot defend against. The Council cannot risk it. Lucy took a deep breath. She looked around the chamber at faces, some friendly, others hostile, many just afraid. She had practiced this speech on the long journey to Zenthari Prime, hoping she would never need to give it. Very well, she said. Her voice carried clearly in the sudden silence. If this is your decision, we will accept it. But know this, you are not banishing weakness, you are not sending away frightened children. You are exiling a species that has survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would destroy most civilizations. She turned slowly, meeting the eyes of every council member she could see. We humans have a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. For 3 centuries we have worked with you, learned from you, grown because of you. Now you send us away to grow on our own. Jake smiled. He knew what was coming. We will leave your space, Lucy continued. We will take our ships, our people, our knowledge. We will go to places you fear to explore. We will push beyond boundaries you dare not cross. And when we return, and we will return, we will be stronger than you can imagine. Some aliens shifted nervously. Zeth Kora's tentacles curled inward. 30 days, the speaker repeated. After that, you are enemies of the Council. Lucy smiled. No, Speaker. After 30 days, you will have made us something far more dangerous than enemies. You will have set us free. The human delegation turned as one and marched from the chamber. As they passed through the massive doors, Jake heard whispers from some alien delegates. Did we make a mistake? They seemed confident. Too confident. Outside the chamber, Lucy stopped. Her hands were shaking slightly, but her voice was steady. Contact Admiral Hayes, tell him to begin evacuation protocols immediately, and tell him to start Project Rebirth. Project Rebirth, ma'am? A young aide asked. Jake grinned. Oh, you'll see. The Galactic Council just gave us the greatest gift possible. What's that, sir? They gave us a reason to become gods. As the human ships prepared to leave Council space, messages flew across the human colonies. Families packed hastily. Scientists secured their labs. Soldiers readied weapons. Admiral Kevin Hayes stood on the bridge of the massive carrier Indomitable, watching the stars. Sir, his second-in-command reported, all human assets are accounted for. 50,000 ships, 2 billion citizens, and enough supplies for a decade of travel. And the special cargo? Hayes asked. The quantum flux generators are secured, sir. Dr. Rodriguez says they're ready for the journey. Hayes nodded. Set course for the void. Full speed. Let's show them what humanity does when you tell us we can't do something. Sir? Where exactly in the void are we going? The Admiral's eyes gleamed. Anywhere we want. That's the whole point. As the human fleet began its exodus, one thought passed through every mind, human and alien alike. The Council had intended to protect itself from humanity's potential. Instead, they had just unleashed it. The banishment had begun, but so had something far more significant. Humanity's true journey to the stars was just starting, and this time, nobody would be there to hold them back. 5 years had passed since the exodus began. Admiral Kevin Hayes stood in the observation deck of the massive space station, floating in what humans now called the void. No Council species had ever traveled this far from known space. The stars, here were different colors, and the clouds of gas between them shimmered with strange energy. Dr. Rodriguez reports she's ready for the final test, his aide announced. Kevin nodded. Tell her to proceed, and contact Director Carter. He'll want to see this. Below them, on the artificial world they called New Earth, billions of humans had built cities that defied imagination. Towering structures reached into the sky, connected by bridges that glowed with soft blue light. Massive gardens fed populations through advanced agriculture systems. Children played in parks that had never known a sun like Sol. The door opened and Ben Carter walked in. The colony director looked tired but happy. His hair had gone gray during their first winter on New Earth. 3 months of darkness as the artificial planet adjusted to its new orbit. Is it time? Ben asked. Dr. Rodriguez says yes, Kevin replied. 5 years of work. If this succeeds... It will succeed, Ben interrupted. Amy Rodriguez is the smartest person in human space. She's had access to resources the Council never allowed us. They watched as a small ship appeared on the view screen. The vessel looked nothing like traditional human craft. Its hull seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Energy readings showed power levels that should have been impossible. USS Quantum Pioneer to station control. Dr. Amy Rodriguez's voice came through the speakers. Beginning quantum flux drive test. All systems green. This is station control, the controller responded. You are clear for testing, Doctor. The whole colony is watching. Amy's voice held excitement. Understood. Engaging quantum flux drives in 3, 2, 1. The ship seemed to fold in on itself, then stretch across space like taffy. Colors bent around it. Reality itself seemed to twist. Then, in a flash of purple light that hurt their eyes, the ship vanished. Kevin checked his instruments. Where did she go? Long-range scanners show nothing, his aide reported. No debris, no energy signature, she's just gone. Ben frowned. This isn't supposed to happen, Amy said. Contact from USS Quantum Pioneer, the aide shouted suddenly. Amy's voice filled the room again, but now she sounded breathless and amazed. Station control, this is incredible. The drive worked perfectly. I traveled 12 light years in 30 seconds. I'm orbiting a planet with 3 moons right now. Kevin grabbed the microphone. Dr. Rodriguez explained what happened. The drive was only supposed to move you a few thousand kilometers. I think the quantum flux is more powerful than we calculated, Amy replied. In the void, there's no Council interference, no restrictions on energy use. The drive responded to my intent, not just the programmed coordinates. I thought about finding new worlds, and it took me straight to one. Ben laughed. Amy, you beautiful genius, can you get back? Already on my way. Want to see something interesting? This planet has ruins, ancient cities. Someone was here millions of years ago and left technology the Council never imagined. The view screen flashed again. This time, the quantum pioneer appeared exactly where she had started, without even a tremor in the surrounding space. Docking now, Amy announced. Prepare a full science team. What I found changes everything. 2 hours later, Amy Rodriguez stood before a packed conference room. Her dark hair was wild, her eyes bright with discovery. The void isn't empty, she began. It's full of abandoned worlds, lost civilizations, and technology that makes Council science look primitive. She activated a holographic display. Images of massive cities carved into mountains filled the air. Ships the size of moons lay silent in asteroid fields. Machines that defied understanding covered entire continents. This changes our timeline, Admiral Hayes said. We don't need to build everything from scratch, we can learn from what's already here. There's more, Amy continued. The ruins contain data cores. I could only translate a fraction, but what I learned... She paused, looking at each face in the room. The void was once home to an empire that spanned galaxies. They fell because they became complacent, they stopped advancing. Sound familiar? Ben Carter stood up. Doctor, can you perfect the quantum flux drives? Make them standard for all human ships? Better than that, Amy grinned. I can make them standard for all human technology. Imagine cities that can move through space, weapons that draw power directly from quantum reality, defenses that make our ships untouchable. Kevin smiled slowly. How long do you need? Give me 2 years, maybe 3. But sir, we need to be careful. There's something else in the void, something that destroyed the previous empire. What do you mean? Ben asked. Amy's expression darkened. Heat signatures, energy readings. There are ships out there, not human, not council races. They move between dimensions like we walk through doors. They've been watching us since we arrived. Yeah, room fell silent. Then Kevin spoke, his voice steady. Then we need to be ready. Amy, you have all the resources you need. Ben, accelerate colony construction. I want defense stations around every human world. And start training programs for quantum flux technology. What about the council? Someone asked. Do they know about the void? Kevin's eyes hardened. Let them wonder. By the time they realize what we've done here, they'll have more to worry about than banishing humanity. 6 months later, the first human ship equipped with perfected quantum flux drives completed its maiden voyage. It traveled, faster than light, faster than thought. It could appear anywhere in known space without warning. 8 months after that, the unknown ships attacked. The assault came at midnight. Massive vessels appeared above New Earth's sister colony, New Hope. They didn't use weapons humans recognized. Reality seemed to tear apart around their targets. Buildings unraveled into component atoms. Ships dissolved into quantum foam. But humanity had adapted to the void. They had learned its secrets. Human defenders responded with ships that moved like living things, weapons that drew power from the fabric of space itself. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the alien attackers fled into dimensions human sensors couldn't follow. Admiral Hayes addressed the colonies the next day. We came to the void as exiles. We stayed as explorers. Now we remain as conquerors. Whatever's out there, whatever destroyed previous civilizations, we're ready for them. Deep in her lab, Dr. Amy Rodriguez watched energy readings from the battle. She had detected something the others missed. The alien ships weren't using unknown technology. They were using perfected council technology. The void was becoming humanity's forge. Each day brought new discoveries, new capabilities, new strength. The years of exile were becoming years of unprecedented growth. And far away in council space, sensors detected strange energy signatures appearing at their borders. Scouts reported ships of unknown design moving faster than anything in their databases. The speaker of the Galactic Council called an emergency session. What have we done? It wondered aloud. tentacles trembling as reports of human advancement flooded in. But it was far too late for such questions. In the void, humanity wasn't just surviving, they were evolving. 10 years had passed since humanity entered the void. General Lisa Wong stood in the command center of Mars Station Alpha, studying holographic displays that showed the impossible. Human territory now extended across 3 galaxy arms. 50 worlds thrived where only emptiness had existed before. "General, the new batch of quantum drives is ready for installation," Engineer Ryan Brooks reported. His hands were covered in quantum flux residue, a blue glow that meant he'd been working directly with the drives. "How many ships this time?" Lisa asked. 200. That brings our total combat fleet to over 3,000 vessels, all equipped with dimensional shields and quantum cannons. Lisa nodded approvingly. Ryan had become their master shipbuilder after Amy Rodriguez's breakthrough. His designs improved weekly, creating vessels that defied physics as the Council understood it. "Any word from Mike Turner?" she asked. "Intelligence Director Turner is still in deep cover, sir. Last message was 3 days ago. He's gathered data on 17 Council weakness points." The door opened and a tall alien entered. Its skin shimmered like oil on water, and 6 arms moved gracefully as it approached. This was Crix, the first non-human to join the Terran Empire. Its species had been persecuted by the Council for generations before humans offered protection. "General Wong," Crix spoke in perfect English, "my scout ships have returned from the Council border. The news is interesting." "Show me," Lisa ordered. Crix activated a holographic display. Images of Council space appeared, but something was wrong. Entire sectors showed dark zones, areas with no communication, no ship activity, no life signs. "The Shadow War continues," Crix explained. "Those unknown ships we fought? They're hitting Council worlds hard. The Council's defenses are failing." Lisa studied the data carefully. "These aren't random attacks. They're systematic. Someone is destroying the Council piece by piece. Our intelligence suggests the attackers are testing defenses," Ryan added, "looking for weaknesses. Or creating opportunities," Lisa mused. "Mike, are you receiving this?" Her communicator crackled to life. Mike Turner's voice came through, distorted by distance and encryption. "Already aware, General, I'm inside Council Central Intelligence now. You won't believe what I've found. Surprise me. The Council authorized the banishment because they discovered something. A prophecy in ancient ruins that matches the ones in the void. It spoke of a younger species that would surpass all others, if given freedom to grow." Lisa felt cold despite the station's warm air. They knew? They knew we would become powerful. But there's more. Those unknown attackers. The Council has been tracking them for decades. They come from beyond our galaxy, seeking advanced technology. The Council tried to maintain balance to avoid attracting attention. "And they thought banishing us would help?" Ryan scoffed. "They thought removing variables would make them safer," Mike continued. "Instead, they've created exactly what they feared. The attackers have detected our quantum signatures. They know something new and powerful has emerged." Lisa's mind raced. How long until they realize we're human? "Soon. Council, records show our energy patterns are becoming too distinct to hide. But General, I've learned something else. The Council is fracturing. Some species want to reach out to us for help." "Which species?" "The Vorthak Collective, the Crystal Mines, and surprisingly, some of Zeth Kora's own people. They're terrified of the unknown attackers and they know Council defenses are failing." Lisa made her decision quickly. "Mike, begin Phase 2 of our expansion. Ryan, I want quantum gates established on the edges of Council space. Crix, send your people as advanced scouts. It's time the Council learned what they created." 6 months. Later, reports flooded into Council chambers. Human ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts throughout their territory. But these weren't attacks. Massive quantum gates opened near Council worlds offering protection. Human ships destroyed attacker vessels before they could flee to their pocket dimensions. Admiral Lucy Martinez, now promoted after leading successful colony missions, commanded the flagship Invincible. Her crew included humans and aliens from a dozen species that had joined the Terran Empire voluntarily. Contact from a Council Defense Station, Admiral, her communications officer reported. Put them through. Unknown human vessel, this is Defense. Station Gamma, you are in Council space without authorization. Lucy smiled. This is Admiral Martinez of the Terran Empire Navy. We're here responding to distress signals from your system. 3 attacker vessels detected on approach vector. No, attackers on our sensors, wait, confirmed. Multiple incoming hostiles, how did you detect them so far out? Quantum sensors, Station Commander. Standard equipment now. Do you want our assistance or would you prefer we let the attackers proceed? Silence stretched for long seconds. Please, help us. What followed became known as the Battle of Gamma Station. Human ships danced between dimensions, their quantum weapons tearing apart enemy vessels that Council forces couldn't even track. In 12 minutes, 3 massive attacker ships were destroyed, without losing a single human vessel. Station Commander, Lucy broadcast after the battle. I'm transmitting quantum sensor specifications to your system. Consider it a gift. The universe is more dangerous than the Council predicted. Admiral Martinez. Wait. Lucy Martinez. The ambassador who was banished? The same. But now I protect rather than negotiate. Similar scenes played across Council. Space. Human forces appeared wherever attackers struck, saving worlds that had voted for their banishment. With each intervention, more species requested alliance with the Terran Empire. Back in the void, Dr. Amy Rodriguez made another breakthrough. She had decoded more of the ancient ruins data. The previous empire failed because they expanded without wisdom, she explained to General Wong and Admiral Hayes. They conquered but never protected. They advanced but never shared. So we're making different choices, Kevin Hayes stated. Yes, but we need to be ready. The final data suggests something worse is coming. The unknown attackers aren't invaders. They're scouts for something that devours entire galaxies. Lisa Wong studied star charts that showed human expansion. Their empire now connected over 100 worlds, with quantum gates linking them instantly. Dozens of alien species had joined voluntarily, sharing knowledge and resources. How long? Until this threat arrives? She asked. Years, maybe decades, Amy replied. But when it comes, we'll need every ally we can gather. Mike Turner's voice came through secure channels. Generals, the Council just called for an emergency session. Topic: formal alliance with humanity. Lisa and Kevin exchanged glances. After all this time, they want to talk? No, Mike corrected. They want to surrender completely. They're prepared to dissolve the Council and place all member species under human protection. The command center fell silent. Then Lisa spoke, quietly. We became what they feared. Now they need what they created. The expansion phase was ending. Soon, humanity would face its greatest challenge yet. But first, they had to decide what to do with an empire that once ruled the galaxy, and now begged for salvation. The silent expansion had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. But something whispered that the real test was still coming, and when it arrived, humanity would need to prove they were ready to protect not just themselves but the entire galaxy. In Council space, Speaker Zeth Cora prepared for the most difficult speech of its life. Tomorrow it would formally surrender the galaxy to humanity. The circle was complete. The Banished had become the protectors, and somewhere in deep space, sensors detected movement. Something vast stirred between galaxies, drawn by quantum signatures. It hadn't sensed in millions of years. The real war was about to begin. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen anything like it. Instead of the usual 43 member species scattered throughout the vast hall, every seat was filled. Species that had hidden for centuries emerged from the shadows. Others, that had been enemies for millennia, sat side by side. All waited for the same thing. Emperor Charles Black entered through the main doors. He wore simple black clothes, not the ceremonial robes expected of an emperor. Behind him walked Admiral Sarah Johnson, Ambassador Peter Kim, and representatives from the 53 species that had joined humanity voluntarily. The contrast was startling. Beings of scales, fur, crystal, and light, all unified under human leadership. "I never thought I'd set foot here again," Peter whispered to Sarah. He remembered his father's stories of Lucy Martinez's final speech in these same halls 20 years ago. "Different times," Sarah replied. "Different power balance." They reached the center platform where Speaker Zethkora waited. The alien's tentacles hung limp with fatigue. Its red eyes had dimmed considerably. Around them, representatives from every known species watched through holoscreens or in person. "Emperor Black," Zethkora's voice echoed through the chamber, but without its former authority. "The Galactic Council, what remains of it, formally surrenders all territory, resources, and authority to the Terran Empire. We acknowledge our error and place ourselves under your protection." Charles nodded slowly. "The Empire accepts the Council's surrender, but we need to discuss terms." "Terms?" Another council member, a crystalline being called Thresmora, spoke up. "We were told this would be unconditional." "Nothing is unconditional," Charles replied calmly. "You banished us because you feared our growth. Now you surrender because you fear annihilation. Fear still drives your decisions." Peter stepped forward with a data tablet. "Over the past year, 87 council worlds have been attacked. Without human intervention, 64 would have fallen. Our intelligence shows worse is coming." "Much worse," Sarah added. She activated a holographic display. Images of space filled the chamber, but space twisted into impossible shapes, torn, open like wounds. "These dimensional tears are appearing at the galaxy's edge. Something is coming through." Gasps echoed throughout the chamber. Even council species that had lived for thousands of years had never seen anything like the distortions shown. "Dr. Rodriguez's research indicates a galaxy-level threat," Charles continued. "The entities we fought so far are scouts. The main force travels between galaxies, consuming entire civilizations. They'll arrive within 5 years. And you know how to fight them?" Zethkora asked, tentacles curling with hope. "We have advantages. You lack," Charles said simply. "Quantum flux technology allows us to fight in multiple dimensions. Our ships can survive attacks that tear reality apart, but we can't defend the entire galaxy alone." "What do you propose?" Thresmora asked. "Integration, not domination," Charles answered, surprising many in the chamber. "Humanity will provide protection and leadership, but all species maintain their identities. We share our technology fully. In return, you contribute your unique strengths to our combined defense." Peter distributed data tablets to all delegates. "This is the proposed structure. The Terran Empire becomes the Terran Republic. Each species gets representation. Resources are shared equally. Most importantly, no species faces extinction alone." The chamber buzzed with discussion. This wasn't what they expected. Many had prepared for subjugation, not partnership. "There's more," Sarah announced. She signaled to the doors, which opened to admit Crix and several other aliens who wore Terran military uniforms. "These are our current allies. They've fought beside us, shared technology with us, grown stronger with us. This is what cooperation achieves." Crix stepped forward, its oily skin reflecting the chamber's lights. "My people were enslaved under council rule. Humanity offered freedom and purpose. We are stronger together than we ever were alone. The Void taught us something the council never learned," Charles said. "Unity through diversity creates strength. Fear creates weakness. For 20 years, you've feared the unknown. We've embraced it." "What guarantees do we have?" asked Zethkora. "How do we know humanity won't become what you once feared us becoming?" Charles smiled. "You don't. But consider this. We could have conquered you at any time in the past 5 years. Instead, we saved your worlds and offer partnership. The proof is in our actions, not our words." The chamber fell silent. Then unexpectedly a small voice spoke up from the back. A young Zeltrani, barely past adolescence, stood on trembling legs. "I've studied human history through our data exchanges," the young alien said. "Humans have a concept called pay it forward. They help others even when they gain nothing, hoping those others will help someone else in turn. They saved our colony last month. No payment, no demands. Just help. More voices joined in. Representatives from species humanity had shared similar stories. The picture became clear. Humanity protected because they could, not because they had to. The vote begins now, Seth Cora announced after long deliberation. All in favor of accepting humanity's proposal and joining the Terran Republic? One by one, species that had once voted to banish humanity now voted to join them. The count was overwhelming. Only 3 abstained, and those only to consider details. It is decided, Seth Cora declared. The Galactic Council is dissolved. Long live the Terran Republic. As delegates filed out to begin the massive task of integration, Seth Cora approached Charles privately. Why? The alien asked. After everything we did to you, after the fear, the betrayal, the exile, why offer partnership instead of revenge? Charles looked out at the stars through the chamber's massive windows. Because one of our greatest leaders once said the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We could crush you, but that would make us what you feared. Instead, we choose to be what the galaxy needs. And what is that? Protectors, teachers, allies. Charles paused. Friends, if you'll have us. 3 weeks later, the first massive dimensional tear opened at the galaxy's edge. Through it came ships that defied understanding. Vessels made of living darkness, weapons that unmade reality, shields that repurposed physics itself. But they found not the divided galaxy they expected. Instead, they faced the Terran Republic. Billions of humans backed by hundreds of species, all wielding quantum technology, all united in defense of their home. The Emperor's first official message to the approaching threat was simple. The Terran Republic welcomes peaceful contact. But know this, we defend our own. All species under our protection are our own. Consider your next action carefully. In the command center of the massive station that had replaced the council chamber, Peter Kim monitored communications. No. Response to our message, sir. Then they've chosen war, Charles replied. Alert all Republic forces. Operation Unity begins now. As alarms sounded across the galaxy, Sarah Johnson looked at the tactical displays showing thousands of ships from hundreds of species moving as one unified fleet. Think our plan will work? It has to, Charles answered, watching as quantum gates activated across known space, linking every world in a defensive network. We promised them protection. Time to deliver. The battle for the galaxy was about to begin. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as saviors. The Banished had become the protectors, and together, every species in the galaxy would stand or fall as one. Through his window, Charles watched the first enemy ships cross into Republic space. He smiled grimly. Hello again, Council Chamber. Time to show what unity really means. The war lasted 18 months. When it ended, the galaxy was forever changed. Emperor Charles Black stood in what was once the Galactic Council Chamber, now transformed into the Capitol building of the Terran Republic. Through massive windows, he watched construction ships rebuild damaged worlds. The scars of battle would fade, but the memories would remain forever. Final casualty reports, sir. General Steve Williams handed him a data pad. The military leader looked older now, his hair white from the stress of coordinating the largest war in galactic history. Charles reviewed the numbers. 20 million, dead across all species. Could have been billions. The quantum shield saved entire worlds, Steve agreed. Dr. Rodriguez's technology was the key, but the Unity command structure made implementation possible. They watched as a prisoner transport approached the station. Inside was former Speaker Seth Cora, along with 12 other council leaders who had attempted rebellion during the war's darkest days. They really thought they could make separate peace with the invaders? Steve asked. Fear makes people stupid, Charles replied. Same fear that started this whole mess 20 years ago. The prisoners were brought to the main hall where Prime Minister Claire Davis waited with a legal tribunal. Hundreds of delegates from across the Republic watched through holoscreens. Zeth Cora of the Zenthari, Claire announced. Her voice was firm but not vengeful. You stand accused of treason, attempted genocide, and conspiracy to surrender Republic worlds to enemy forces. How do you plead? Zeth Cora's tentacles hung limply. Guilty on all charges. I was afraid. Fear, Charles said, stepping forward from his observation area. Always fear with your species. Fear of human advancement led to our banishment. Fear of annihilation led to attempted betrayal during our darkest hour. The fear was justified, another prisoner shouted. A crystalline being named Vorketh. You humans grow too powerful. First quantum technology, then dimensional weapons. Now you control death itself. Claire looked at Charles, who nodded slightly. Bring in the witnesses. The great doors opened. Thousands of beings entered. Humans, aliens, hybrids. All bore marks of the war. Missing limbs replaced with quantum prosthetics. Scars from dimensional weapons. But they weren't there for revenge. These are your victims and your saviors, Claire announced. Those you tried to betray, those who fought to protect you anyway. A young human woman stepped forward. Her arm was mechanical, glowing with blue quantum energy. I lost my arm saving. Your homeworld, Zeth Cora. 60,000 humans died defending your species. Not because we had to, because it was right. An elderly Zenthari approached the former speaker. You tried to condemn my grandchildren to slavery. The humans you betrayed saved them. My family owes our lives to the threat you created. Speaker after speaker shared similar stories. The pattern became clear. Those who had feared humanity now existed only because of human sacrifice. The Republic's decision is unanimous, Claire declared after hours of testimony. Zeth Cora and the convicted conspirators are sentenced to community service. Gasps echoed through the chamber. This wasn't expected. You will spend the next decade helping rebuild the worlds damaged by your betrayal, Claire continued. You will learn firsthand what unity achieves. Consider it education, not punishment. Charles approached the prisoners. You feared we would become tyrants. Instead, we became protectors. You tried to preserve power through division. We created strength through unity. Learn from this. Later, in the Republic's new Command Council chamber, the leadership gathered for a different purpose. Dr. Amy Rodriguez presented her findings from captured enemy technology. The invaders weren't just raiders, she explained, projecting holographic schematics. They were refugees, fleeing something even worse. Worse than reality-eating ships? Admiral Lucy Martinez asked. She now commanded the Republic's combined fleet. Much worse, Amy confirmed. We've detected massive quantum disturbances beyond our galaxy. Something is consuming entire universal clusters. The invaders were advanced scouts trying to find sanctuary. And they attacked us because, General Wong inquired. Because they needed to test our defenses. If we were weak, they would have taken our galaxy by force. Since we proved strong, they tried negotiation. Charles processed this information. So we weren't fighting an invasion. We were fighting a job interview. Essentially, yes, the surviving invaders have requested asylum. They want to share their advanced technology in exchange for protection. Steve Williams laughed bitterly. First, we get banished for being too advanced. Then we get attacked for not being advanced enough. Now we're being recruited to fight cosmic horror? That's humanity in a nutshell, Peter Kim observed. Never simple, always interesting. The debate continued for hours. Finally, a decision was reached. The Republic would accept the former invaders as allies. Their technology would be shared freely with all member species. Together, they would face whatever came next. 6 months later, Charles stood in the exact spot where Lucy Martinez had made her defiant speech 20 years ago. But now he addressed not just the Council species, but a unified galactic civilization stretching across 3 galaxy arms. We were once told we were too dangerous to remain in the galaxy, he began, that our advancement threatened the natural, Order. Fear drove that decision. Today we face threats that dwarf anything the old council imagined, and we face them united. He gestured to the mixed crowd before him. Humans, aliens, former invaders, all working together. The Terran Republic isn't just a government, it's an idea. That fear divides but courage unites. That strength shared grows stronger. That advancement benefits all, not just one species. The former speaker, Zeth Kora, dressed in work clothes stained from rebuilding projects, raised a tentacle. "Permission to speak, Emperor?" "Always," Charles replied. We were wrong. Not just about humanity, but about everything. You didn't conquer. You united. You didn't dominate. You elevated. You saw strength where we saw threat. You chose hope where we chose fear. Charles smiled. "Keep that thought, former speaker. You'll need it for what comes next." "What's that?" "Convincing the next galactic cluster that humanity isn't a threat. Amy's scans show more universal refugees heading our way. They'll need someone to vouch for us." Zeth Kora's eyes actually brightened. "You want me to ambassador for humanity? For the Republic, for all of us. Think you can manage?" The alien that had once banished humanity straightened its tentacles with new purpose. "I'll do my best." As the assembly dispersed, Claire Davis approached Charles. "The circle completes itself." "Not completes," Charles corrected, watching species from across reality work together on massive projects. "Expands." "We were right about one thing, though." "What's that?" "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The banishment forged us into what the galaxy needed. The war united us all. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together," Claire finished. Above them, stars twinkled with new meaning. Many weren't stars at all, but quantum beacons connecting worlds across impossible distances. The Terran Republic stretched beyond sight, beyond imagination. "Emperor," Charles Black looked at everything they had built and allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Humanity had been banished for being too powerful. They returned strong enough to protect everyone. The galaxy had feared them. Now, it thrived under their guidance. "Sir?" General Williams approached with new reports. Long-range scans show a massive quantum signature approaching from intergalactic space, bigger than anything we've seen. "Enemy?" Charles asked. "Unknown. But sir, it's using our communication protocols. Someone out there has been watching us grow." Charles grinned. Same old humanity, always finding something new to deal with. "Well then, let's say hello properly, this time with all our friends." As alarms signaled across the Republic, every species prepared for first contact with something truly unknown. But unlike before, they prepared together. United. Stronger for having learned fear's true lesson. The banishment had ended. The protection had begun. And somewhere in deep space, humanity's next chapter was already writing itself. The galaxy bowed not to conquest, but to an idea. That fear divides. That courage unites. That humanity, when set free, becomes not a threat to survive, but a hope to embrace. The new order had begun, and it was more magnificent than any prophecy could have foretold.